genuinely my third or fourth try at making this video because I keep on saying the wrong things. Anyway, so the plan is going to be I'm going to talk about the hierarchy of species, and then I'm going to go into the main story, which is the story of life, and then probably my main side story, if that makes sense, which is the unhealthy love one. Yes, I've somehow named them. And then I'm going to talk about a double-edged sword, and then Akimitsu's story. I've not named it yet, but why is there a bus outside? Shut up. Anyway. So then, yeah, I'm going to talk about a bit about Akimitsu, and then I'm going to go on to Apollo's side story. And then I'm also going to, at the end, give a little bit of context about how my characters were created, because, I'm sorry, some of them were created really interestingly. So, species hierarchy. So at the top we have the gods, obviously, they're gods, you know, which are Azael and Orion. Azael is the equivalent of, like, I don't know, the Christian god or something. Like, he rules over the equivalent of heaven. How souls get to heaven is if they've reincarnated. Like, I need to think of a number now. Souls have reincarnated, well, I'm just going to say a lot of times within the soul's life. Then they will get, like, I don't know, 100-year rest at heaven, and then go back to being reincarnated. Or I wouldn't call it heaven. I don't know what I'm going to call it. That's a problem for like future Robin. Yeah. Okay. And then my phone just died. No. What the hell is going on now? Okay. Anyway. And then under that we have the gods' assistants. Now the gods' assistants I have made a few videos on, but I've never made a video on the gods. The gods' assistants are Luca, Luna, and Red. Yes, I know two of them start with L. I made Red first, so you know. So with those three, Luca is like the assistant mainly for Azael. Red is the assistant mainly for Orion, and Luna is more in the middle, but Luna does the most jobs. Like, he judges where souls should go, whether to the void. Oh yeah, I've never really spoken about Orion. Okay, and Orion runs over, like, the equivalent of, like, hell, I'd say, but it's not exactly hell, because Orion, like, he runs over how souls get destroyed, because it can take, like, a while to create new souls, but the thing is, souls get reincarnated every, like, 5 minutes, I'd say. So yeah, the souls are really hard to create. Like, I mean, it takes Azael and Orion. Oh my god, I just thought of something so bad, but it can be canon. You know what, that's being canon. So, I don't know how I'm going to explain this. Okay, so, every time Azael and Orion, like, how do I put this? Every time Azael and Orion have quote unquote how do I put this, bro? I hear footsteps. Okay. Oh my god, I hear even more footsteps. Okay. Every time Yall and Orion have like, you know, I'm just gonna put a speech thing on the screen as I'm using CapCut. Yeah, every time Yall and Orion do that, a new soul is created. Why did I literally just make that up? Anyway, so yeah, that happens. But then souls can get destroyed really easily. So it literally just takes the souls going to the quote-unquote void for them to like die. And the way that Luna judges souls is if in any of their lives they die and they have been morally bad, then like, okay, let's say, I'm trying to think of a bad anime character. Mori from Bungo Stray Dogs. If he was in my OC world and he died, his soul would be destroyed and wouldn't be allowed to reincarnate again. But if someone's good, I don't know, Kunakita, if he was in my OC world, then he would get reincarnated because he was morally good. It's all based on morals, if that makes sense. And then, yeah, and then we have the God's Assistants, which Luna obviously judges all the Luna judges all the souls. As Red kind of works for Orion more and helps out Orion with sorting out all the very, very bad people that they have to see every single day. Oh my god, those poor men. And then Yall and Luca sort out all the people going to the or all the people relaxing from taking breaks from reincarnation. Okay, now we have my favourite bit, the Grim Reapers. I don't know if you could tell, but I absolutely love them, and actually one of them is my favourite OC. But, well, I love two of them more than the others. We don't talk about, well, saying that, I have my own story around those two, so technically, yeah, it makes sense why I love them more than the others. Okay, so, I'm gonna say their last names for a reason, you will find out later on. So, Jade Ruiz. He is like the boss of everything. Like, he's... I need a pen. He's like a manager. So, okay, here's a way to put it into business terms. The gods are the CEOs. The God's assistants are secretaries, and then Jade is the manager, and the Grim Reapers are the employees. That makes so much sense, and I don't like that. So, yeah, Jade is like, makes sure everything's going smoothly with the Grim Reapers and makes sure they do their job, otherwise he would be thrown into the void, because that is what happens to Grim Reapers who don't do their job. There's never been a Grim Reaper who doesn't do their job. But if a Grim Reaper doesn't do their job, Jade will tell Red, because Jade is the only Grim Reaper with direct contact to the God's Assistants. The Grim Reapers, like, under Jade, the other 9 of them, have no idea that there is even assistants of gods, or gods. Like, Jade can keep this secret. Like, Jade is, like, extremely stoic and, like, mysterious. Like, you know. I like Jade. Anyway, so yeah, Jade is the highest ranking Grim Reaper. He doesn't have a place to, like, collect souls. because all Grim Reapers have like a continent or a country to collect souls for. However, Jade doesn't because he's too busy making sure all Grim Reapers actually do their job. How you? And then we have Asher, who is the second oldest Grim Reaper. Well, Asher Ruiz, yes, I'm saying their last names, who at an age of 648. Jade is 649, just so you know. So yeah. Jade is old. Anyway, yeah. So Asher, his place is South America. Yeah, I'm not going to say how any of the Grim Reapers died, purely because I don't want to spoil the video I'm making, aka procrastinating. Yeah. And then we have Lucian, my baby. He's not my favourite, but he's my baby. I'm actually in the middle of drawing him, which I've not done for a while. Lucian, Ruiz, yes, I call those three the Ruiz brothers because it makes it so much easier instead of saying Jade, Asher, and Lucian. Lucian is... he may not look like it, but he is the most wholesome character I have. I will talk more about Lucian later, just because I'm going to go in depth of some of the characters I like, because I can. So... yeah, then we have Lucian, whose place is North America, but also not Canada. There is a reason for that. And then we have Ivan Nikolaevich Alexiev. Oh my god, I love him. I'm actually making a bracelet based on him right now. Just to, yeah. So, Ivan, his place is more like, I think it's Eastern Russia. The reason why is because him and Lucian are obviously close, because the ship Lucian exists. But it is forbidden because Jade, being Arrow Ace, doesn't want any of the Grim Reapers dating. Oh yeah, Ivan is 422. So, yeah. Ivan is the Grim Reaper for the more eastern side of Russia. I made two, literally my thought process, like, when I made these two characters was, I need 2 Grim Reapers for Russia, it's big. And then, yeah. I was like, I want one based on war, and I want one based off of those dolls that go inside each other. Yes, that is actually how I made the Alexievs. Anyway, Misha Nikolaevich Alexiev, age 422, because him and Ivan are twins. So, Misha is the more western side of Russia, and also a bit of like the Middle East and the countries around there. I am a geography student, I swear. And, you know, they obviously have the same middle name because Russian names work like that. I had to do a load of research while reading Crime and Punishment to understand why people have, like, the names there. It's actually quite useful knowing that. You can find out any Russian person's dad's name. Anyway. And then we have Elijah. No, How You. Wong How You. My main character. He's supposed to be the Grim Reaper for China and India, and also maybe a little bit of like Russia, like the bottom bit of Russia, I don't know. And like, he's meant to do more of the Middle East and stuff. And How You is 276. And then we have Elijah, Elijah doesn't have a last name because of his backstory. But Elijah is the Grim Reaper for the entire continent of Africa. With a little bit of help from Lucian when Lucian's free. The reason Lucian has such a little area is purely because Jade wanted his little brother to, like, be at peace. So, you know. But Lucian helps out with the other Grim Reapers. Just because he can. So yeah, Elijah is the Grim Reaper for the entire continent of Africa, and he is 273. And then we have Prince Thatcher. Remember that. Prince Thatcher. Prince is 130. And his tail, he has actually got 5 tails and 1 arm. I love his design for some reason. But he is the Grim Reaper for, like, the more, I think it's western side of Europe. So England, France, Germany, Spain, countries like that. Because he's also English, so. And then we have Layla Dawson. Layla is 33. So she is the second youngest Grim Reaper. And she literally just has Canada. But she helps out the other Grim Reapers like Lucian does. Because she gets bored easily. And then we have the youngest Grim Reaper, Matsumoto Shito. He's 25. His age is actually kind of important. But he gets overworked purely because of a certain noodle-loving guy. Anyway. So, yeah. Shito is the newest Grim Reaper. Obviously, he's 25 years old and he died at like the age of 17. So, you know. But so he does like Japan, Korea, the Philippines, then I think he also probably would do Australia and New Zealand and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the Grim Reapers. And then we have got the Souls. The Souls are pretty much just the people who have just died and not reincarnated or gone to the void yet. Pretty basic, I guess. And then we have the humans. The main 3 humans, I would say 4, but Haoyu's not a human. The main 4 humans are Yoso Kagaku, who is a chemistry teacher, because for some reason my characters are teachers. Milo Day, or if you want to call him Milo Yoso. Why is this? Yeah, Milo Yoso, but I'm not going to spoil the end of the story of life. But Milo is Kagaku's fiance, and he's also an art teacher. Oh yeah, that ages me. Kagaku is 25. Milo, sorry, I'm moving and it will come out and like it will look like the sound of me moving is coming out of my mouth. So yeah, Kagaku's 25. Milo is 23. And then we have Jinx Cartier. I think that's how you say his last name. I don't know, I just searched up French names and then chose the one that looked most like the one he had before, because my mum just randomly told me that, you know. Yeah, so we have Jinx Cartier, who is 24, and he's a French teacher. So, what was I gonna do? Okay, and then, So to sum up the story of life, like, you know what, I'm going to say Hao Yu's backstory. I'm not going to say any other character's backstory. I'm literally just going to say Hao Yu's, because you're probably wondering what Zhao Sheng and Pengji are like doing in that one video that I made to that one ABBA song. So, Hao Yu's backstory. Hao Yu was born into a very rich family. Like, I'm pretty sure Pengji and Hao Yu are two of my richest OCs. So yeah, Hao Yu was born into a rich family who worked very closely. Just remember, this was like set in the 1700s. But they worked very closely with the Emperor of China. And obviously, and then the Emperor changed to Huang Pengji. And may I add that Pengji and Hao Yu all were friends at the time, until Pengji developed feelings for Hao Yu, and then Hao Yu started to like him back. But where Zhao Sheng comes in, Zhao Sheng was born into a rich family, but not as close to the Emperor as Hao Yu. But the thing is, ever since Zhao Sheng was young, he is obsessed with Hao Yu. I'm talking Archer with Grey kind of obsessed. So Zhao Sheng was obviously jealous of Pengji because Pengji was with Hao Yu. However, Zhao Sheng decided to say that Hao Yu committed treason against Pengji, specifically saying that the birthmark on his face is a sign that he committed treason. And then the guards overheard, didn't listen to Pengji, and killed Hao Yu on the spot. And then Hao Yu became a Grim Reaper, but he didn't want to, so he pretended to be human. And also, may I add, in the 1800s, Hao Yu run an opium den. Don't ask. So that is Hao Yu's backstory, summed up. It is a lot deeper than that, but that is Hao Yu's backstory summed up. Okay, and then I'm probably going to talk about... So yeah, I'm not going to say the plot for the story of life because I feel like people will compare me to Asagiri and Gege if I do. So I'm not going to do that. But yeah. Okay, and then we have... I was going to talk about... My headphones just turned off, what the hell? Okay, I guess I'll take those off. And then we have Unhealthy Love, which is the Grey X Archer story. Now, I cannot remember their ages. I will need to check one of my other books for that. But I'm pretty sure they're in their late 20s. Okay, so the two characters are Archer Ford and Grey Thatcher. Oh my god. So, to sum up their story, I'm going to sum up each character. Archer was, neglected as a child, so he didn't learn how to live, and that caused major problems for him growing into an adult, including lots of medical things. So, that is fun, I guess. I don't know what to say. But then he started craving love, and then the love kind of got obsessive, so, you know. And then Grey, I don't want to say this. When Grey was younger, he got, I'm gonna put it on the screen, but you'll know what I mean when I put it on the screen. Gray kind of got that when he was younger. So he wanted to stop other people from going through it, and he became a detective. Now, I'm going to say the start of their story. I'm not really going to say the end of it because I don't like spoilers. But if you want spoilers, I can give you spoilers, I guess. So basically, and then, yeah, so the story starts off with Gray getting a call from, like, this distressed woman saying that the neighbour is, like, extremely weird. So he goes to check it out and then sees Archer. Because Archer is now isolating himself in his room because he doesn't know what to do with his life. Okay, a double-edged sword. Now, this is actually featuring Kagaku's childhood friends, Dokuro and Kesho. Dokuro is autistic. That sounds really bad to mention first, but I need to mention it. So yeah, Dokuro is also 25, like Kagaku. Kesho was in the year younger than them, and so he's 24. But they ended up getting together around the same time that Kagaku discovered his feelings, that Kagaku discovered he was gay, which was around the age of 15. Kagaku thought he was bi until he realised that he never actually really liked women. Yes, I have how Kagaku found out he was gay, because Kagaku used to be my main character. So, yeah. And how Ace comes into it, I think Ace is like 37. He's like one of my oldest characters. Oldest human characters. I don't really want to say what Ace does, but it's really messed up. But, yeah. And to sum it up, Dokuro, like, has a hyperfixation on swords. So he actually makes, like, decoration swords for fun. That's why the story is called Double-Edged Sword, because Dokuro likes swords. Now I guess Apollo's one. I actually got an idea from, like, a YouTuber that I watch. And, well, I combined an idea from a YouTuber that I watch who gives amazing story prompts. I'm gonna, like, put their ad on the screen just because. But how Red comes into this is, well, the main character of Apollo's story is actually Noah, but Apollo is quite important. So, how Red comes into the story, because as you have learnt, he is a god assistant, so why would he be interacting with two humans? Well, Red got bored one day, so he decided to make this random priest believe he is God and tell him to kill people. Don't mind that. I had watermelon earlier. So yeah, Red decides to do that for fun, and Noah almost becomes a victim to Apollo until Apollo. I'm not going to say that. Anyway, oh my god, this is almost half an hour. Okay, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to tell you how each of my characters were made that I remember of. So Kagaku was first made as a teacher. His name was actually going to be Rin, which was scary because I was first getting into Vocaloid and I didn't fully know who Rin was at the time. So I'm glad I did not name Kagaku Rin, but Kagaku got his name, literally just, like, you can Google translate each of his names, and if you search up his entire name, you get a chemistry textbook. I wish I did not name him, like, I don't know, chemistry, medicine, science. That is probably what his name translates to. Okay, and then Milo. I got bored one night, decided to create a new character, but then I shuffled Ghost and Pals for design features, and the only one that actually, oh god, my tablet just... Why did my tablet go dark? Anyway, so the only feature from Ghost and Pal song that Milo has actually kept is the fact that his hair is white and orange. His hair is actually based on a song called Scapegoat. Oh my god, I actually ended up putting Milo in that song. So that's how Milo was created. I was bored one night. How You was created through an OC challenge, and so was Jinx. And believe it or not, okay, now we're going on to the Grim Reapers, because we've done the main 4 boys. That's their nickname. So the Grim Reapers, believe it or not, the first Grim Reaper I made was Lucian to another song. To sum it up, my life is very music related. But yeah, I made Lucian to a song called Chronic Wasting Disease by a Rip Producer. Oh my god, I've not listened to that song in ages. Jade and Asha were, like, OC challenges yet again. Okay, and then Ivan, so I've already said this, but I want to say it again. Ivan, I got bored and wanted to create a character based on war, so I did. I'm going to put, like, their first design picture here, like the Alexia twins' first design picture. So Ivan was based on war, and Misha was based on those Matryoshka dolls, where it's like, you open it and there's like a miniature version of the doll inside. And believe it or not, Misha still has the same ability that I gave him when I created him. So Misha, well, it's similar. Misha was first able to clone himself, but now Misha can create illusions. Because each of the Grim Reapers have abilities, I've just not thought that deep into it yet. Okay, we've already done How You, so Elijah wasn't yet another OC challenge that I forgot about until like multiple months after I created him. And I was like, oh my god, wait, that's actually a decent OC. Prince, I don't even remember how I created Prince. I think I like made him up on the spot or something. And like, no, I knew he was a Grim Reaper, but like I didn't have a design for him. Layla, I thought, like, I just randomly knew that I needed a female character, so I made her. Shito, I needed, well, he started off as like a background character for Kigaku, and also Kigaku's childhood boyfriend. But then it ended up like turning him into a Grim Reaper. And then we have Grey and Archer. Those two are my only characters that are actually made for each other. So all the couples that I have, I never planned for them to like get together when I created them, which I think makes Grey and Archer special. They are one of my favourite ships. My favourite ship is Lucian. Basically, I made them. We were once in English, right? Like at some point. Well, I was once in English, like some point a year ago now. And our teacher wasn't in, so the cover work was to write a story about a detective meeting a weird individual. And I wrote the first chapter of the Grey and Archer story in that class. I asked my teacher if I could keep it to write it at home, which I did. Well, I think I've written it in one of my books. And then it's just stemmed from there. The Kuro I made on an online game based on one of my friend's avatars. Kesho, OC challenge. Ace. How the hell did I even create Ace? I don't know. I think I literally just kind of drew him while listening to Bonomi, and he just kind of evolved from there. Now, if I can find it, I will show you a picture of Red's first design. But Luca, I was bored in maths. Luna, I was bored in maths. Red, I was bored in geography. Azael, I was bored in science and asking one of my friends for random numbers for features, and well, I've kind of completely changed him. Orion, I wanted someone for Azael, and also Jinx was an OC challenge, yes, But I also made him purely so Kagaku, no, not Kagaku, hell no. I made him purely so how you had a love interest. Anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna like let you guys watch a bit of just Project Sapphire Gaming now, because why not? Okay, yeah, bye. Why is this 35 minutes long?
Ah, ありがとう。